Welcome to the Business Growth Podcast. Today I'm here with Ash from Clear Tax Accountants. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lauren, for having me. Thank you.
No worries, looking forward to having a chat. So tell us a little bit more about what you guys do at Clear Tax Accountants.
Right. So we are tax accountants, and basically what we do is business accounting, individual tax returns, as well as financial planning.
hmm Okay. And what would you say is like the main customers that you help?
More or less into people who are willing to build a property portfolio is
Mhm.
our main clientele that
Yeah.
we help. So right now, a lot of people want to invest into property, but they're not 100% sure how to get in, and
Okay.
that sort of things is where we help people advising on structures and exit strategies, and as well as how to save more and more taxes or around those
Yeah.
structures. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then so you'd say the main type of work that you guys do is in terms of like with property and the taxes.
Yeah, that is true. That is
Yeah.
true.
Okay, cool. And then tell us a little bit more about what are kind of like some of the projects that you guys are working on at the moment.
I wouldn't call it a project because, again, taxation is very individual need.
hmm
So yes, we have diverted our practice more into people who are looking for a long-term advisory, who are looking for more sort of a wealth creation or wealth management. So that is where we have diverted the practice to, and that is how more and more clients are now asking questions on those perspective. For example, I'll just give you an example. Nowadays, people are not sure of, right, they are building a portfolio, let's say a share portfolio, property portfolio, but how this portfolio get transitioned to their next generation of offspring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not many
Okay.
people are clear on that. So we are
Yeah.
now diverting the practice more into those sort of queries, and that is resulting into really good outcome for the clients. Yeah.
Okay. So more moving towards like wealth management from like a
Yeah,
tax
yeah, that is
perspective.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Protection management, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then in terms of like for you guys as a business though, what are some of like the things that you're working on? I know last time you said you're implementing GoHighLevel. What kind of like projects as a business are you working on?
Right. As a business, yes, absolutely. So this is one of the areas that we're working on. Just we want to improve the experience that our client have.
Mhm.
When we were doing research, Go High Level seems to be a really strong contender who has adopted AI plus a really good value for money. So we are yet to implement it. We're still in developing phase. We are customizing the solution for us. So basically, who doesn't know which is Go High Level, is it's a CRM, and we are still, we're still into development phase to, or bespokely customizing it to implement it for ClearText. But
Yeah.
whatever we have seen so far, it seems to be really awesome. With the AI technologies it has, responsiveness it has, and automation that it can do and stuff like that. We are very excited to implement it fully. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds pretty cool. And then
Yeah.
I guess what made you decide to like implement a CRM? Like what are you looking to achieve from doing something like that?
Right. Okay. So mainly client interaction. We just
Mhm.
want to keep our client informed in every small step, and we, instead of doing it via human, which can create so many errors and obviously inefficiencies in the process, this can also increase the cost for the clients to manage their accounting and stuff. We would
Yeah.
want to put a system in place that does all the reminders, simple things like
Mhm.
BAS reminders, year-end tax reminders, checklist sending, or even updating them on every single stage where the application is. Sometimes they say, for example, they want us to create a family trust. We want the online forms to be created within the system itself, the forms to be automatically filled in, and the same information to flow in for their tax returns and everything. So all that, we're
Right.
just looking for synchronized system, and hence we are really hopeful that Go High Level will be able to do all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, nice. And then so aside from the Go High Level implementation, any other projects that you guys are working on as a business?
In the past, yes. So very recently, we have done a actually there is one interesting project that we're working on.
Mm.
What one of the because we are into property side of things, one of the biggest query that people have is, if I gonna buy a property in XYZ state, let's say in NSW, um, how much of land tax I will be paying? What if I buy a property under my name? What if I buy a property in a family trust? What if I do a unit trust? And all these queries does come up. And imagine someone is living in Queensland and
Yeah.
trying to find an answer for NSW or Victoria or any other state. They just don't know where to go.
Yeah.
And what we have recently done is we have developed a calculator. It's still an estimated. It's not, we don't want to claim it's a super accurate and all that, because you have to do your
Yeah.
own research that is applicable to you. But we have developed a calculator where you just select the state, put in the land value, you will get the how much of land tax will be applicable to you in that state. So it's just a
Hmm.
much easier approach for any investor who's looking to invest interstate or within their own state, to know that cost for different structure if they choose it to be. So
Yeah.
I think that would be a game changer. So that should be live within a
Uh-huh.
couple of days in the website, and it's a free of
Yeah.
cost for everybody to use. And the website is called
Mhm.
cleartext.com.au. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. Yeah, I can
yeah,
imagine there could be some big savings depending on setting up the right structure and
yeah.
avoiding potential headaches down the road.
Absolutely, Leonard. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then what are some of like the goals that you guys have as a business for the next couple, I guess, for the remaining of the year and then for like the next like couple of years?
Absolutely. So ClearText do exist in 3 states right now. So we got 6 offices, including Melbourne, Sydney, and Adelaide. We would love to expand into all the states if possible within the next 3 to 4 years. That's what the
Yeah.
target is. And the expansion is purely just because we are now building clientele in almost all the states, and people have started asking, "Oh, do you have office in Queensland, or do you have office in Perth? Can we come and see you guys? Can we do this?" I think it's not that it makes a huge difference, but it's good to have a physical location which is closer to the clients, and
Hmm.
and the clients can feel more comfortable. They can just walk in and chat physically to an accountant rather than speaking to them
Yeah.
on the Zoom or the phone. So that's the whole target, and we have seen obviously there's a massive growth in Sydney and Adelaide. We've started practice in Melbourne, but we've seen a growth in Sydney and Adelaide, and we are really hopeful that the growth should come in for the business. This also creates a lot of opportunities internally for the staff as well, because
Uh-huh.
not that we must hire from, say for example, if you're opening an office in Perth, we it's not like we must hire from Perth, but just in case if someone is looking for internal promotions, they're very welcome to apply, and obviously relocate if they are willing to as well.
Yeah.
So it just
Okay.
creates more opportunities for everybody within the
Yeah.
business.
Okay.
Um,
Nice.
for the clients, we are again, as I told you, we are looking for more sort of AI, more automation, just to make sure that prices are competitive in the market as well. And hopefully all these tools will help us to be more efficient, and we can be part of this AI journey and not left behind. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's pretty crazy the amount of stuff you can do
Yeah.
with AI these days. So I know earlier you said in terms of you're looking with GoHighLevel, doing some automation with like the reminders in terms of the BAS and all that. Anything else in terms of that you're looking at in terms of automation with AI?
Yeah, especially the client journey, when they're just so a lead to a client is a huge journey. They don't know us, they've just contacted us either from a website or a Google or a blog or something. I
Yeah,
want AI to be able to answer the initial queries that they may have. For example, how much we charge, or what we do, what our processes looks like, what
yeah,
do we know about this topic. So we're trying to create that agent who will be able to robotically chat. If you
yeah,
go on our website, currently what you can do is you can make a phone call to the robo, and the robo can help you book the meeting with the consultant or text consultant quite effortlessly. So that is something that we've already implemented very recently, and that is actually working nice and
mhm,
fine, because they're able to grab your email address. Sometimes you may have realized,
yeah,
Leonard, that it's not easy to explain a robo your email address, especially when you have all the different accents in the world. But
mhm,
but the robo is able to understand and put that in a right spelling and an email address as well as a phone number and everything. So we find that a huge success there in
oh,
implementing
yeah.
just that. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. I find even giving an email to a human over the
Yeah.
phone and repeating it multiple times is
Yeah.
still a struggle. And you kind of, just like cross your fingers and hope
Yeah.
that their email comes through. So yeah, imagine if a robot is probably going to be pretty tricky as
Yeah.
well. Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. And then anything else in terms of what you're looking to automate a little bit more?
We're not sure, Leonard. So again, this space is fairly new. We are again
Mm.
old, we're just any other accountants. Most of our time goes into balance sheet and P&L and speaking to the clients and consulting.
Yeah,
We are not as exposed as somebody else would from that world. So we are
yeah,
very, very open just in case if there is any, we try to participate into more and more AI sessions, but it's given that it's a very busy season for us, so we didn't get chance. But
yeah.
but we would love to participate somewhere. Say for example, if there's a workshop happening, we are always in,
Okay.
for that, and probably we'll come to know what more AI can confidently
Mm.
do, and
Yeah.
how is that we can implement that. But right now, no. But one thing will be really seamless, if possible, and we would be
Hmm.
very keen.
Yeah.
Um, Currently, we have about 22 systems in place, and somehow these systems are interacting with each other and stuff like that. But it's good to have just one system in place that does everything. For example, for the phone calls, we centralized phone calls. We use Dialpad, then we have Excel, then we have again Google Drives and this and that, and a lot of other systems like QuickBooks, Zero, and all that. So a lot of other systems are in place.
Yeah.
I would really want to see if somehow an accounting firm can just use one system and all of them interact
Mm.
with each other. Yeah, that'll be
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I imagine your software bill must be pretty high as well with 22 different systems, right?
that is true, Leonard. That is true. Again, as you evolve as a practice,
Mm.
there's a less control that you have what you can, because you're a small practice when you start. You have very small buying power, and you wanna make sure that everything is value for money and all that. But when
Yeah.
you grow in a practice, it then turns out to be a big project to change systems. But we're
Mm.
pretty
Yeah.
open for that. But we're yet to find a single system that kinda does a lot of accounting practice work here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, yeah. I know, like even for me as a business owner, like my just software expenses, it's so big. So I can
Yeah.
imagine, especially for 22, yeah, it must be pretty big. Okay. And then so what would you say some of like the challenges that you guys are facing at Clear Tax at the moment?
I would say finding the right talent could be one of the
Mhm.
biggest challenge, Leonard.
Yeah.
Tax and accounting is not as exciting as skiing or doing this or doing that. It's purely,
Mm.
so someone has to have a passion for numbers. Someone has to have a
Yeah.
that customer service oriented framework in the mindset that we gotta make sure that because no, your client is not tech savvy, but you are. So it's a journey for for an accountant to explain their financials to them in a simplest form, as well as making sure that they understand the GST workings, they understand their taxation, P&L, and everything. So that is not common with everybody. So you got to find the right talent who can actually look after your clients, as if they really need, obviously, providing that technical support at the same time, as well as making it simple for the client. So and you want your employees to be more like partners in the business, and they should feel that where client is asking, and have that customer service orientation, as well as they need to be self. Accounting is evolving world. Every day you gotta have new rules, new taxation, new stuff coming up, so they need to be more up to date as well. So there's so many skills that you need from an accountant, and it's not that easy to find. So probably that is my biggest challenge, and hence we are not able to grow in various cities as we would want to. But at the same time, we would just want to be very conscious to make sure that we are aligned as values, or the business values, moment we recruit somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 definitely. And it's a reoccurring thing that people are saying from what I've spoken to is like finding the right talent. So it's pretty interesting. And I heard, yeah, like people in universities, there's less accountants coming out of university. So it's definitely like I've heard it from a lot of people I'm speaking with. And then
Mm.
so I'm curious, is it when you say like finding right talent, is that also more just like they don't have the skills that you need, or it's more just like as in like they've got not much experience? Or there's just not many people to pick from at all, or maybe they want too much, they want to be paid too much, or what would you say like specifically?
Honestly speaking, Leonard, I just think the problem is when someone comes for an interview and speaking to you, you
Mhm.
kind of get to speak to them for half an hour, right? Or an hour. You
Yeah,
don't get enough time to rapport building, and either ways, both sides, right? I know in my I know in my mindset that we are really awesome business to work with, but they don't know that, and every
Mm-hmm.
business is telling them same. And I'm sure some of them, they know that they are the really awesome person to work with. Not that what you get it in half an hour to 1 hour, they're actually very good to work with. But
Yeah.
as a employer, you got to be getting convinced, yes, they are the right person. So I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a lot of mismatch that is happening right now, because
Mm-hmm.
in that half an hour to 1 hour, you are not able to convince each other. But it could
Yeah.
be so. So probably that is the biggest roadblock for an employer to recruit the person, because the time frame, because
Yeah.
I've not studied with them, so I don't know how they are and this and that. So to know
Mm-hmm.
that person in half an hour to 1 hour and finding the right talent is probably the biggest challenge,
Yeah.
for any individual. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in terms of any other, say, like challenges that you guys have aside from like t finding the right talent?
Um, I Text is wide,
Mhm.
and you got to be up to date with all the knowledge in the world.
Yeah.
And when a client is calling you, they I think most of the clients understand, but some of the clients may not. They expect you to know entire knowledge about all the areas in taxation, for example, property, business,
Mm.
superannuation, and a lot of other areas. So we do have specialists. So we are 70 people in the firm, and we do have specialist people in each of the towers or each of the areas. So probably expectation from a client that if they're speaking to a consultant, they would know end to end for all the areas. It's a bit too much. So probably that is one of another challenge. So we do
Yeah.
have to divert the client to a specialist if
Oh, yeah.
if they have if they fall into different areas. But probably, yeah, maybe
Mhm.
just understanding thing for a couple of clients. But I think most of the clients do appreciate that, yeah, they have been referred to an expert for that area. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. I can like I did a tax law at uni, and I just remember it was the books were the biggest books out of all the subjects I did. We had three separate books, and this was just for like one subject. So yeah, I can imagine that there'd be a lot of information you would need to be up to date with.
True, Leonard.
Um, and then so where do you see like the future of the industry going with all of this and like with what you guys do?
um Honestly speaking, on this one, I'm not sure.
Hmm.
With the AI coming in, um maybe there will be time when you press a button and your text return is ready. you
Hmm.
know we don't know how advanced or how quickly we're going to see that. I think the time will come.
Uh-huh.
So we got to be evolving more into, as in, if they're tax consultants, I'm sure they would know that they would probably more into advisory side of things now, as
Hmm.
compared to preparation side of things. So preparing a tax return probably will be automated in about next 5 years time. um,
Yeah.
uh, or maybe sooner. I wouldn't be surprised if it is done sooner. Especially there are now softwares where you put in the bank statement and you say prepare the GST, and they're doing fairly okay job in preparing
Mhm.
that batch statements and stuff like that. Obviously,
Yeah.
you got to review every single line and make sure that is accurate, but they're doing fairly good job in categorizing those transactions. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they will be able to do the profit and loss account, balance sheet, financials,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So logics can be developed, of course, on those lines as well. So
Yeah.
I think for a tax accountant, it's now is the time to think, if they are not providing all preparation services, what else they will be doing, and advisory could
Mm.
be one of the other things where the people can work here.
Right. Okay. So you're seeing as like a tax firm, they need to start moving more from just preparing things to more than moving towards like the advisory side as well as
I
AI
believe
starts to
so.
automate all of
Yeah,
that.
I believe so. With everything that we are seeing in the market, I believe so.
Mm.
That it's time to start thinking. I'm not saying moving today, tomorrow, but start thinking, if the preparation has been automated,
Yeah.
what's next? Yeah, what's
What's
next?
next? Yeah.
What's
Okay.
next?
And do you kind of
Yeah.
see as automation increases, accountants like losing their jobs, or do you think it's going to create more jobs, or what do you kind of think it's going to look like for people in industry?
I think it's going to create, I mean, as we have seen in the past as well, the machinery and stuff probably has helped us to create more jobs. It's just people having
Mhm.
more and more goods to use. For example, in the car manufacturing industry, now we see a lot of automation in car manufacturing and stuff. And
Mhm.
what has happened is everybody has a car. It used to be, few people have a car, and used to be very
Yeah.
few cars. So So generally speaking, when the industry expands with the
Yeah.
automation, it tends to create more and more. So, for example, I'm just seeing you don't see many 16 or 18-year-old are working right now. But with the automation and everything, with AI coming in, you will probably see younger generations to get into workforce, and they will be talking about their taxation, planning, and this and that, and hopefully creating more and more roles. So everyone will be doing loads of things. Hopefully, that will also create a lot of accounting work um, for
Yeah.
accountants in general, if not preparation, but on advisory, on planning, and doing this, and holistic financial health as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Where can people find you to learn a little bit more about what you guys are doing?
Right. Thank you. So if you want to know about us, just log into our website, which is cleartax.com.au.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I'll put that in the show notes, and then I'll also yeah, I'll put your LinkedIn so people can reach out as well.
Thank
You
you,
guys,
Leonard.
no worries. You guys have been listening to the Business Growth Podcast. Until next time, keep growing.